What if I told you that inside the human body, an entire human being can begin developing from just one tiny cell? In just 9 months, that tiny beginning can develop into a baby with a beating heart, a developing brain, fingers, toes, and the ability to respond to its surroundings. But how does this incredible transformation actually happen? What takes place inside the womb? Let's go inside and follow this extraordinary journey, month by month, from the earliest stages of pregnancy to the moment a baby is ready to enter the world. Month 1 begins with fertilization. A sperm cell meets an egg, creating a new cell with genetic material from both parents. That cell immediately begins dividing as it travels toward the uterus. Once it reaches the uterus, it attaches to the uterine lining in a process called implantation. Meanwhile, the early structures that will eventually become the placenta and umbilical connection begin developing. Even though the embryo is incredibly small, the foundations for a completely new human life are already being established. During the second month, development happens incredibly quickly. The embryo begins developing recognizable features, including the early structures of the head, brain, eyes, ears, arms, and legs. The heart is also developing rapidly, and cardiac activity begins early in pregnancy. The nervous system continues forming, while the basic structure of the body becomes increasingly defined. At this point, the embryo is still very small, but major changes are happening almost every day. By the third month, the developing baby is generally called a fetus. The fingers and toes become more defined, facial features continue developing, and the bones and muscles begin to mature. The fetus can make small movements, moving its arms and legs, although the mother usually cannot feel these movements yet. Now, pregnancy enters the second trimester. The fetus begins growing rapidly, while the face and body become more developed. The skeleton continues to strengthen, and the fetus becomes increasingly active. It may stretch, turn, and move its arms and legs inside the uterus. For some mothers, the coming weeks may bring the first noticeable signs of fetal movement. But every pregnancy is different, and the timing can vary from person to person. By the 5th month, the fetus is becoming much more active. Fine hair called lanugo may cover parts of the body, while a protective substance called vernix can help protect the developing skin. The baby's hearing is also developing. Sounds from inside the mother's body can be heard, and as pregnancy progresses, the fetus may respond to external sounds. Around the 6th month, the fetus continues gaining size while important organs continue maturing. The lungs are developing, although they are not yet fully prepared for life outside the womb. The brain is also undergoing rapid development, with increasingly complex connections forming within the nervous system. At this stage, movements can become much more noticeable. The fetus may stretch, kick, turn, and change position inside the amniotic fluid. By the 7th month, pregnancy has entered the 3rd trimester. The fetus continues gaining weight and begins developing more body fat. This growing layer of fat will eventually help the newborn regulate its body temperature after birth. The brain continues growing rapidly, while the lungs and nervous system undergo further maturation. The fetus can respond to sounds and other sensations, and periods of activity and rest become more noticeable. During the 8th month, the baby continues growing and preparing for life outside the womb. The brain and nervous system become increasingly mature, while the lungs continue their development. As the baby becomes larger, there is less space available. Then comes the 9th month, the final stage of this remarkable journey. The baby continues gaining weight while the lungs, brain, and other organs mature. Near the end of pregnancy, the baby may move lower into the pelvis as the mother's body prepares for labor. Eventually, contractions begin. The cervix gradually opens, and the uterus begins working to move the baby through the birth canal. Need pregnancy guidance? Book your online appointment today.